Screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we already talked about two types of animals which can sustain a wide range of temperature that are known as eurythermal, and those animals which can only sustain a yes,
Sorry for interrupting. Are you presenting your screen like the slides?
it's still not visible.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Lights are not only showing presenting.
Okay, now is it visible?
Not yet, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm presenting from my side, but might be some technical issue. Let's okay.
Sir,
Okay, now
mm, no, sir. Sir, can I suggest something?
yeah, yeah, please.
Uh, you can share the PDF in the group and keep on explaining. We will like see it by ourselves
Yeah, yeah,
while
that's
you
what
were
I
explaining.
was also
Yeah.
thinking. It will be little confusing, but only this way we have right now. Okay, so I will share the just a minute. Okay, now
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's visible now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just okay. PDF also I shared in group in case if it's happen again, then we'll continue like that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now the presentation is also visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking about temperature. The second most important factor is a second most abiotic factor that is important, that is water. So productivity and distribution of plant is dependent on water. This we all know. Now, what you need to remember in this salt concentration, salinity in parts per thousand. This is also not much important, but just a minute. Two, three things that are important for aquatic animal. One is salinity of water. I will write here. You can write salinity. This amount of salinity you don't need to remember like less than 5%. Just which factor of water can affect the aquatic animal. So first is fresh water or saline water. Like, is it fresh water or is it saline water? If there will be fresh water, the type of organism will be different, and if there will be saline water, type of organism will be different. Second is if the water is saline, the salinity. Salinity means how much salt is present. That will also define the types of organism present in aquatic body. Third is pH. So pH means whether the water is acidic or slightly basic or neutral. So this pH also determine like which types of fishes can be present. Next is depth of water. Depth of water also determine like fishes present. Depth of water, how? Like for example, this is the sea and this is the surface of sea, and let it be the land. So in the upper level, different organism will be present. If you go more deeper, more different organism will be present. And at the depth of the sea, where at bottom of the sea, completely different types of organism will be present. They might not be fishes, they may be insect, they may be snakes. So these animal which are present on the bottommost part of the sea, or the soil present at the bottom of the sea, those are known as benthic animals. Benthic. Benthic. Benthic animal. So this all you just need to know about this water part. Okay, next is light. So light is also very much important, and we already discussed this part where we were talking about the temperature, because light only determine the temperature. Apart from light, one or two things are also there, like altitude is there. If you will go to higher altitude, the temperature will decrease or increase.
So decrease.
Temperature will decrease. Okay, so two, three things that can determine temperature. One is light, other is altitude, third is if C is present nearby or not. So the most important part in that is light. So plant needs sunlight for photosynthesis. Small forest plants are adapted to photosynthesize optimally under very low light because they are overshadowed by tall canopy tree. So it's written like the trees which are having very good height, they are getting very good sunlight because no other trees are overshadowing them. But the small trees, those are present at the bottom of large trees, those are overshadowed by the large trees and those are not receiving proper sunlight. So they are adapted perform photosynthesis even in low sunlight. Okay, this term you need to know photoperiodism. What is photoperiodism? So plant are depend on sunlight for flowering and many other things. For example, like we all have a circadian rhythm in our body. Like in morning we will feel fresh, in night we will feel sleepy. So there is a circadian rhythm in our body, and apart from that circadian rhythm, we also have clock. Like clock, we have calendar. Like now the date is 26th January. We will celebrate Republic Day. Now 15 August is there. We will celebrate Independence Day. So we have calendar, we have clock, and we have a circadian rhythm inside our body. But how plant and animal they decide what's the time is and what thing they need to do. For example, uh, fruits, like whenever there will be starting of summer, mango trees will start producing fruits. So how they are knowing that proper timing, why they are not producing fruits in winters, why they are not producing fruits in 1 or 2 months early or 1 or 2 months after the actual time? It's because of photoperiodism. They are completely depends on the amount of sunlight they are getting. So there in their body, there is a sensor, like if this much sunlight is there, it means now it's time to produce fruits, it's time to produce flower. So this is known as photoperiodism. And many animals and many birds are also very much sensitive for this photoperiodism. Photoperiodism means changing of sunlight during day or during the year. During the day also, you have seen animals, they will wake up in the morning and they will also feel sleepy in the night, even though they don't have a clock. It's because when morning sunlight starts increasing, sensor in their body or they just perceive the amount of sunlight and act accordingly. So this is known as photoperiodism. The sun is the ultimate source of light and temperature on the land. This we already discussed. Next is deep, greater than 500 meter in the ocean. The environment is dark and there is no energy available from the sun. So how the deepest part of or deeper part of ocean is surviving? Like it's written here, up to 500 meter there will be sunlight. After up to 500 meter there will be no sunlight. Then how the organism will survive here?
So maybe they must not be needing sunlight for surviving.
They will not be there. They don't need sunlight for survival. And it's like in sea, there is a very, we can say, good management. You can see good management everywhere in nature. So similarly in sea also, for example, an organism is there and it will be like feeding on plants or any other animal. So the animals which are residing below this point might be feeding on this animal, and the animal which are on bottom might be feeding on these animal which are feeding on this animal. So kind of food chain is there. So after 500 meters, they don't need sunlight. They just took their food from the surface animal. Next is the spectral quality of solar radiation is also important for life. It is saying the light which is coming to us, it is of various frequency, it is of various wavelength. So in that light, UV light is also there. In simple words, we can understand different type of light is coming from the sun. In that light, UV light is also there, which is not good for us. It is known as ultraviolet rays. So it is also a carcinogenic, also having carcinogenic property. Carcinogenic property means
Don't know.
Cancer create.
yeah, cancer causing. Carcinoma. Carcinoma means cancer. Carcinogenic means cancer causing element. So UV light is a kind of carcinogenic thing, and it is also not also not considered good for our eyes health, skin health. Okay, next is soil. The nature and properties of soil is different due to climate, weathering process, sedimentation, methods of soil development. So because of all these things, we can see different types of soil. Now the important part, soil composition. It means what different constituent are present in a specific soil. For example, whether humus is there. Humus is a kind of fertilizing agent present in soil, natural fertilizer, humus. It is made by earthworm. So whether humus is present, whether stones are present, whether some minerals are present. So this is known as soil composition. Next is grain size. Grain size means what is the average size of each molecule of that soil. And next is aggregation. Aggregation means how the soil particles are binded to each other. So you understood all three terms.
Sir,
Soil
can you explain this aggregation again?
aggregation means what is aggregation in general terms. Aggregation means how we are connected with each other. Connection. So how soil particles are connected with each other, this is known as aggregation. So these three things will determine the percolation and water holding capacity of the soil. So these three things will determine whether how much uh, water will this soil absorb, or how much uh, water will be available in the soil. For example, sand is there. So sand, we don't know about soil composition, we don't know about grain size, but whether the sand particles are aggregated with a greater force or very loose.
Sorry, sir, what did you ask?
Okay, I'm asking, like, if we will compare the sand with normal soil, so aggregation is high or low in sand?
Low.
Low.
Yeah,
Low, sir.
aggregation is very low. So because of that low aggregation, the water holding capacity of the soil decrease. Similarly, grain size. Now let's assume it's small grain size is there. So more water will be absorbed by this soil because much space will be present between these small soil particles. But if large soil particle will be present, so only small quantity of water can be stored in between these soil particles. So grain size, soil composition, these all determine the percolation and water holding capacity. Now, what is percolation? Percolation means movement of fluid in a solid. Means soil is a solid and water is fluid. So how water will move inside the soil, it is known as percolation. For example, sand will be there. So whole water will move very fast towards the soil and it will go very deep inside the soil. But if normal soil is there, if black soil is there, that soil will not allow much water to pass through it and more water will be available near the surface. So this is known as percolation. Okay.
Sir, sorry, sir. That percolation means movement of water in the soil particles.
Yeah, movement of water in the soil. Whether the soil is allowing free flow of water or whether it's just like opposite of water holding capacity.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now these characteristic and parameter like pH, mineral composition, topography. pH means what's the pH of soil, whether it is acidic or basic. Mineral composition, how many minerals are present. Topography. Topography means similar to soil composition, like whether stones are present, whether humus is present. So it will determine the vegetation means plant and animals in an area. In aquatic environment, the sediment characteristic means the characteristic of soil present in the bottom of the sea will determine the types of benthic animal. Like at the bottom of the sea, the type of soil determine the which animals are present. Benthic animal, I already explained you. Like for example, this is a benthic animal, starfish. Next, very important, response to abiotic factor. Okay, now let's there is a shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Yogastha Kuru Karmani, Sankam Kyakatva Dhananjaya, Siddha Siddhyo Samubhutva, Samatvam Yog Uchyate. So that Samatvam, we are talking about Samatvam in our mind. What is Samatvam means?
Equality, equilibrium.
Equilibrium, stability. It means doesn't matter what's the outer condition is, whether these conditions are favorable, whether these conditions are unfavorable, whether outside there is happiness, whether outside there is sadness. You need to be at a stable equilibrium, at a stable position. So this is samatvam. So in yoga, we are trying to stable our mind, to bring samatvam in our mind, but in our body this samatvam is already there. So this samatvam is known as homeostasis. Homeostasis means doesn't matter what is the outer environment, your body will always try to maintain the internal environment consistent, internal environment stable. For example, two example we will discuss. Let's take the example of summer. In summer, the outer environment is hot. So our body need to maintain the internal environment constant. So what will happen? Our body will start sweating. And what is the reason behind sweating? What our body do? Our body just pass the whole heat in that sweat and it goes out of our body and internal body remains at stable temperature. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is winters. In winters, whenever there will be uh, very much cold and we will not be wearing that enough woolen items or clothing, then what will happen? Our body will start shivering. So that shivering is to produce energy, is to produce heat. So when outside temperature is very low, our body is trying to produce heat to keep our internal temperature constant. And when outside temperature is very hot, our body is uh, just eliminating heat in the form of sweat to maintain the inside temperature constant. So this is known as homeostasis. So homeostasis is maintaining a constant internal environment. So four type of organisms are there. Like this is not homeostasis, this is response to a biotic factor. We can also relate this with our mentality. Whether there will be unfavorable condition, four types of people will be there. First, who will be in samatvam, like if something bad will happen or something good will happen, they will just uh, keep their mind stable. Next one, those if something bad will happen, they will be very sad. If something good will be happen, they will be very happy. Third is if something bad will happen, they will try to run from that situation. They will try to escape from that situation. So as there are different types of people, similarly there are different types of animals. First one is regulation. So these are samatvam people or samatvam animals. Doesn't matter what's the external environment is, they will always maintain their internal environment constant by various physiological and behavioral means. Physiological means their body is doing it by itself, and behavioral means they will also try it by their behavior. For example, we are drinking lots of water in summer just to keep our internal environment constant. We are wearing woolen clothing in winter just to keep our internal environment constant. So how it will happen? By physiological and behavioral means. So two things are there, thermoregulation and osmoregulation. Thermoregulation we all know, to maintain the internal temperature constant. What is osmoregulation?
Maintaining water content.
Maintaining water and salt content. For example, a sea animal is there, if a fish is there. So the internal salinity or internal, like inside the fish body, there will be some water present and some salt present. But in the sea, it might be like in the sea, water is much more than salt. So this is known as osmolarity, amount of salt present in water. Understood this osmolarity? Amount of salt present in water. So if inside the fish body there is much more salt present per liter of water, but in sea there is less salt present per liter of water, then if the fish will go into the sea, then very higher chances is that the water will start flowing from higher concentration to lower concentration. So it will lose its osmolarity. So in simple words, we can understand, to maintain the fluid and to maintain the electrolyte or salt concentration in our body is known as osmoregulation. So all the birds, mammals, and very few lower vertebrate or invertebrate, this you don't need to remember. Just all birds and mammals are regulators. Regulators means whatever the outer situation is, they will try to keep their internal environment constant. Next is confirmators, or the process is confirm. So confirmators means if the external environment will change, their internal environment will also change. Like most of us are mentally confirmators only. We are doing this confirm process only whenever there will be some unfavorable condition, we will be sad, we will be irritated, and whenever there will be some happy moments, we will be happy, we will be dancing. So most of the time we are confirmers only. So 99% of animals and nearly all plants cannot maintain a constant internal environment. For example, just see this, don't see this graph. I will just make a new graph to make you understand. This is the internal environment and this is the external environment. So whenever external environment will change, for example, external environment is just a minute. This is external environment and this is internal environment. So let's just take only one variable, temperature. This is 10 degrees Celsius, 20, 30, 40, 10, 20, 30, 40. So first talk about regulator, humans. So at 10 degrees Celsius, what will be our body temperature? If external is 10 degrees Celsius, what will be our internal temperature? Around 37. In 20 degree also, our internal temperature will be same. 30 degree also and 40 degree also. So it's a straight line. So these are known as regulators. Now, let's talk about confirmers. So at 10 degree, they will be having their body temperature at 10 degree only, just like external environment. At 20 degree, their external temperature will also become 20 degree. 30 degree, their external internal temperature also become 30 degree. So they will change with external environment. So these are confirmers. Next are partially confirmers. Partially confirmers means those people who are newly, you can relate with those people who newly started doing yoga. So they can remain stable up to some extent, but after that they will also become confirmers. For example, some animals, if the external environment is changing, so they can remain stable up to some extent, and beyond that they will just start changing with external environment. So these are three types of responses: confirmers, regulators, and partial regulators. So you understood these things, regulators and confirmers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is migration. As I told you, some people will try to run from the situation. So similarly, what happened when unfavorable condition is there, some animal or some birds, they try to escape from that situation and try to find a favorable condition. So the best example is Siberian crane. When winters starts in Siberia, the temperature fall down below 0 degrees Celsius. It's very cold there. So what these birds do, these birds start migrating towards India, and there is a national park. This is very important, Keolado National Park, Bharatpur, Rajasthan. Keolado National Park is very famous for the Siberian crane. In winters, they will come to Keolado National Park, Bharatpur, Rajasthan, just to escape the winters in Siberia. And not from only Siberia, from other extremely cold northern region, birds come to these Keolado National Park. So this is migration. Next is suspend. Suspend to avoid. So what is suspend? These animals are like we can take example of people who will not run from the situation, but they will just try to situation. They will just wait for the situation to pass, and they will be in dormant condition. So this is known as suspend. Like for example, many animals are there. For example, snakes are there. In winters, snake will go in hibernation. What is hibernation? Hibernation is a long sleep. Means they will sleep for 5-6 months, and they will just cut out their all the body process. It's not like our sleep. It's like a, we can say they will just reduce their body functions completely so that they will not need energy, and they will go to some cozy place in winters, and they will just pass the 5-6 months in hibernating mode only. So hibernation is the process to remain dormant in cold condition. So many animals are prone to hibernation. For example, bears. For example, snakes. What these animals will do? They will just become dormant in very cold environment. They will cut out all their body functions and will escape the coldness. Estivation. What is estivation? Estivation means some snails and fishes who cannot survive in extreme hotness. So what they will do, in some water or near water, they will also stop all their bodily function and will suspend the summer in sleep mode only. So this is known as estivation. So what's the difference between hibernation and estivation?
Sir, hibernation in cold condition means animals will be dormant stage. Activation in summer season, animals will be in dormant stage. Am I right, sir?
Yeah. In hibernation, the dormant stage will be because of coldness, and in winters, and in estivation, the dormant condition will be
For
because
the
of
season.
increased temperature, and in summers. Next is diapause. So diapause is also very important. It's seen in like very lower species like fungi and zooplanktons and all. So what happens in diapause? For example, this is we can take it as a I actually forgot the actual word. Spores. Spore. So spore you can understand as seeds of fungi, seeds of very lower plant are known as spores. So these spores are covered with a protecting layer. Again, I am telling spores are, you can understand is like understand that like seed of very lower plants like fungi, mushrooms and all. Their seeds are known as spores. By means of which they produce new offspring of their generation. So in their spores, there is a protecting layer. So whenever there will be unfavorable condition, means soil is not there or water is not there, sunlight is not there, unfavorable condition is there. So they will this protected layer will protect the spore, will protect the seed, and whenever it will find a favorable condition. Favorable condition means soil is there, sunlight is there, water is there. So this protective layer will fall off immediately, and that spore will germinate to form a new fungus. It will germinate to form a new mushroom. Okay. So one thing in response to this biotic factor, abiotic factor is adaptation. So adaptation is the morphological, physiological, or behavior attribute that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. So I will explain this. Just if there is unfavorable condition, so how to survive in that unfavorable condition? There is some adaptation. First adaptation is morphological adaptation. Morphological adaptation, what is morphology? Morphology are characteristic of plant. It is size of leaves, size of stem, size of root. This is known as morphology. So their morphology help them to survive. For example, if cactus plant is there, so cactus plant, there is very leaf is not there, only stem is modified, and stem is only doing the photosynthesis. Why leaves of cactus plant are not there? Because if leaf will be there, then leaf will excrete water. Like in normal plant, transpiration is there. Transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration is the process of elimination of water from leaves of plant. So normal water do transpiration, they eliminate lots of water from their leaves. So to avoid that loss of water from leaves, in cactus there is no leaves. So this is morphological adaptation. Next, in hilly area, the leaves will be like this. Yes.
Can you give another example for this morphology?
Yeah. First, you understood what is morphology?
So it's basically like adapting the shape,
No.
shape,
Listen,
shape.
morphology, it's just type of leaf, stem, and roots present in plant. Okay, it is known as morphology. So this morphology can help in adaptation. Then it will known as morphological adaptation. Okay, I will give one example. For example, in hilly region, you will see leaves like this, very conical leaves. Why this type of leaves? If the leaves will be like this, then snow might be get remained in the leaves. So in hilly region, the leaves is like very much thin and having a down curvature. Just if snow will be there in this leaf, the snow will fall off. So this is morphological adaptation. Morphological adaptation means the plant is trying to adapt with the help of a specific adaptation in their leaves, a specific adaptation in their stem, a specific adaptation in their roots. This is known as morphological adaptation. Understood?
Yes, sir. So basically, you are saying that it's like natural. Naturally, they will grow up like that.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah. Naturally, after millions of years, millions of unfavorable conditions, they are developed like that.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Next is physiological adaptation. So physiological adaptation, that is because of our body physiology, like sweating, shivering. This we are not doing. Our body is doing because of its physiology. So this is known as physiological adaptation. Behavioral adaptation. So what is behavioral adaptation? You can give example.
So, like, suppose there is so much of heat there, and like in heat we tend to get irritated, but we are trying to not get irritated as it will pass on, something like that. So,
Yeah. This is also a behavioral adaptation, and if we will directly link to the abiotic factor, for example, if very much sunlight is there, so you will see people will be, if they are driving scooter or bike, they will just cover, hold their hands, hold their face. So why they are doing so? Just to avoid sun. It's a kind of behavioral adaptation, which we are doing because of our behavior. Okay. Okay, so we'll stop here. And actually, yesterday I forgot to inform sir regarding that class timing of class, change in timing of class. Today I will inform him, and tomorrow we will surely do at 8:30. So that's it for today. Yes, any question? Okay,
no, sir.
okay, PDF I already shared in the group. Just go through that PDF. In next 1 day, we will complete this ecosystem, and next 2-3 days, we will finish the remaining environment part. So you can leave now, and please leave the meeting. Then only the recording will be off.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.